dignify situations and also inspire people.
The talk show.
The Black woman created this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Sundays with the Cherry on Top. I am your host, Cherry, and I just want to say that to recap the last two episodes, the update on my Wi-Fi is that it's up and running. As people who've been watching the show, I was having issues with my Wi-Fi, but that's all fixed now. So we should be able to get through this with no interruptions, which makes me so excited. But they did get me though, because they said I had to get a bigger package because I'm doing a lot of streaming. So that's what I had to do to keep the show going. So hopefully no more bumps in the road. And I also want to say that I haven't been saying that I need to say is I would love for you to find me on social media. Find me on my Instagram at Sundays with the Cherry on Top. You can find me on Twitter, Sundays with Cherry. Also like my Facebook page because every Sunday we do these shows live, and on YouTube you can find me. And the cool thing about YouTube is that all my past interviews that I've done have been saved on the platform. So if there's an episode that you couldn't get to when we were doing it live, if you want to go back and watch some snippets, I have some cherry picks up there. I have some commercial snippets up there. And so just go to my YouTube channel, Sundays with the Cherry on Top, and subscribe, and you'll be able to get past episodes. Even when I was doing interviews in person, I have those up. So you'll be able to see the progression of Sundays with the Cherry on Top and how hence we got to the name Sunday every Sunday. So, you know how I like to do every interview. Oh, by the way, I still haven't got my cards. I just got an email saying that the cards are on the way. I should get them this week. And I was like, it's been 3 weeks. Okay. But anyway, so that's why I still have my white paper. My cards are on their way as we speak. And so I just want to say, you know, like I always like to do a fun fact with each guest. And so I'm really excited about my next guest, Carolee Corthron. She's a playwright and author. She writes for TV, which we'll talk about more in the interview. And I'm just really excited because she's literally writing things all Black Girl Magic as we speak. So I'm excited to talk to her about her latest book. And the fun fact that I want to say before I bring her on is that she started off as an actress, and now she is a writer, playwright, TV writer, now author, novelist. But she started off as an actress. And another fun fact about her is that her and her sister Kia are both playwrights, and they're writers as well. So we'll talk more about that in the interview. But I'm just really excited about talking to her about things that I just love, and just with history. And you'll learn more about why I talk about history when she talks about her book, which is set in the Jim Crow South. So that's all I'm going to say until we bring her on. So with all that said, and my fun facts aside, I am excited to announce to you Carolee Corthron. Yay!
Hi.
Oh my gosh. It's so good to see. I can't even remember the last time I've seen you in person. I've seen you online. It's been a long, long time because you're even on the West Coast now, you know, so.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a minute, but I'm so glad to have you. I'm so overjoyed to, as I keep saying that, I'm really excited about having you on because, you know, which we'll get to later about your book. But I wanted to, I like to start each interview with a check-in because there's so much going on in the world and in our country and, you know, under this administration. And so it's always important for me to just check in with my guests to see how you're actually doing right now in this moment. So what are some of the things you've been doing to keep yourself sane in this crazy time?
Well, that's a great question. Keeping yourself sane. I've actually been a lot more disciplined about meditation than I think I've ever been before. Like I've always known that it was good for me and I've tried, but then I would do it for a few days and it would kind of just fall off. But I have to do it every night now before I go to sleep. And it kind of started as a way to try and prevent nightmares.
Amen.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like overall, I'm just a little bit more at peace than I was before that. And I tend to still get anxiety. Like there'll be times, whether it's I'm looking at something on the news or I'm hearing about something or something's happened, I'll find myself not quite breathing right. And I have to like stop. I was like, okay, just be quiet, take a few breaths, do a couple of box breaths, and bring myself back. I've also been trying to read for pleasure, which I haven't had a chance to do in probably like over a year, but like the last couple of months, I've kind of forced myself to carve out time to actually just read books that I want to read, and it's not for like some work purpose or as a favor to somebody. And I think that has helped me a lot too, is like kind of reconnecting with fiction and also some nonfiction that I really enjoy. I guess it's like finding how do I kind of escape this world in a way that's healthy and not harmful. So that's kind of what I've been doing. It's an experiment.
Those are all great things, but let me ask you, because of you as a writer, when you read books, even if it's fiction or nonfiction, is it somewhat like when an actor, because there's some actors who will go see movies or watch TV and they cannot get lost in their imagination. They're picking apart the camera angles or there's actors playing actions. Is it the same for you as a writer when you're reading books? Can you get lost in the imaginary world, or is it more of those things where you start to, the writer and you starts to critique, or can you separate the two?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I can easily separate the two if I like what I'm reading. Like if it's really good writing, I'm just totally there for it. And you know, I want it to be good writing because nobody wants to read a bad book. When I'm reading not so great writing, then I find myself constantly like, why did you make that choice? Why did you do, this would have been so much better if you'd done that thing. And I get frustrated. It's the same with television too. If I'm really into a show, I'm just in it. But when things start to go awry, then I find myself saying, what was going on in that writer's room? So yeah, I feel like as long as the art is good, I'm there for it. But when it's not so great, that's when the like critique mind starts to come out.
Nice. I hear that. Okay. So okay, I hear you. So yeah, it's the same thing what I do too. Like if it's really good movie, I can get lost into it. And then if it's like the actor is green or not the greatest, it throws me off. So I hear you on that. I want to move on to my next question because it's so fascinating, and I really want to know the answer to this because I love the fact that you and your sister Kia, are both playwrights, and she has a play that I love to this day called Breath Boom, and it's about a female gang leader. And the reason why I like this play is that you really don't get to see stories from a female gang leader's point of view and how it affects women. Is usually just the men. And so that's why when I saw this play produced, I was just so fascinated by that story. So I wanted to ask you, now, did you and your sister grow up in a artistic household where writing was pushed? How did that happen? Because I love the fact that you guys both write.
Yeah. No, it wasn't at all. It's so weird and it wasn't like it was discouraged, but it wasn't like my parents were like, you must write or do this, or not even pushed to read. It's just, I think that we both enjoyed that. And the thing I should say that's interesting about us is that there's such an age gap, because I was an accident baby. So, like very much accident. My sister's 16 years older than I was. So essentially she was being raised as a kid before I was born. And by the time I was coming up, she was in college and kind of out. So it's strange. Like we weren't even exactly being raised at the same time, and even really in the same way, if that makes sense, because of the time. I kind of came to it very much by accident, because I really respected my sister, and I love that she was a playwright. I got to start seeing them when I was like 13. It was really exciting to me. It's like, wow, she wrote this. So I always felt like that's her lane. What's my lane? What am I going to do? And, you know, I did grow up taking like dance lessons and things. And so for a while, like you were saying, I wanted to be an actor. I thought, you know, I really like dramatic literature. I like expressing myself. I think this is the way to go. And I did it for a number of years. But what kind of happened to me was that, one, I got a little bit tired of the lifestyle, because, you know, it's not an easy life, as you know.
Listen, I'm shaking my head like I know, and I got an Emmy back here, and I'm still hustling. I'm like, what is my due? What is my due? You know.
By the way, I love seeing your Emmy back there. It's lovely, lovely.
Thank you so much.
No, but yeah, like so it was like more headshots, more money. This job I hate, getting up at 5 a.m. to get in line to maybe be seen for this audition. I was just kind of getting tired. But what I really started to get frustrated by was like when I would be called in to audition for things and the material was bad, like bad. And I was like, I don't want to say that. And I sort of started thinking I could do better than this. And in my head at the time, I was like, well, I'm not even a writer. Like, what is this? Why is this happening? So I got kind of embittered a little. And I thought, well, maybe I'll write for myself. I'll kind of go the solo performer route. I had this whole like idea. And then as I got more into my writing, I thought, I'm not going to perform that because that is way too vulnerable. So I guess I'm a playwright. Like it literally just kind of like came around because I liked doing it. I was like, oh, I'm enjoying writing. I feel like I am expressing this creative side of myself that needs to come out. But I think it's better if I have actors say these words than me. And it'll also sound better. It was like, oh, so then I'm a playwright. Like I tried to avoid it and it just kind of came and found me.
Wow.
So strange.
I love the fact that it came and found you. And so we have that journey of you starting off as an actress and then writing going into the one woman Anna Devere Smith route, the one woman show, and then playwriting found you. So how did being an author and writing novels for young adults find you? Because that leads me to my next question. I want to ask you about your book, Daughters of Jubilation. And it's a story about a young girl who's 16, who's literally trying to figure out and find and embrace her Black girl magic and her powers and be proud of that. And that's why I was so excited to have you on because we see the hashtag Black girl magic all around, but you're literally writing about Black girl magic. So what inspired you to write this book? Mm-hmm. And I guess that's it. What inspired you to write this book? And also why young adult? Because I do think we need more Black women in that area. So I love the fact that you're even in the young adults, genre.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess I'll start with maybe how I was inspired to write this book, and then I'll kind of bring it back around. Mm-hmm. Several years ago, I saw this photo exhibit. It was this Gordon Parks exhibit. If you all know the great Gordon Parks, her late great photographer, that he did the series in 1956. I think every photo was called Untitled. Like he actually didn't title them for some reason, but they were all these photos of everyday Black people living in the Jim Crow South. He was in like Alabama and Mississippi, and he just traveled to like different towns. I don't think he wasn't even like trying to make a thesis or to make a point. He was just like, here it is, have a look. And they're pretty stunning. There's some amazing photos. But one of them I discovered later, there were like, so in 56 or 57, Life magazine, which no longer exists, published a bunch of these photos. They did like this full spread. But there were 16 photographs that were cut. Like they didn't make it, they were rejected. So a couple of years ago, those photos were published in a book. Like these are the ones that didn't come out. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at this book, and there's one photograph that really stood out to me. There's this little Black girl, and she's kind of in the foreground of the photo. And she's kind of standing with a little, like, kind of a sly smile on her face. You don't really know what she's thinking. Mm-hmm. Behind her, there's like a little house, and there are a couple of people on the porch. You can't really make them out. They're adults, though. And in the distance, there's this cloud or twister or smoke thing. I don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. It looks like it's coming from her head.
Oh, wow.
Now, it's not. Like, logically, I was like, okay, she didn't do that. But what if she did? What I started thinking, like, I just kind of wondered what would this little Black girl's life had been like if she'd actually had the power to really wreak havoc in the world. And that was kind of the first crumb that I got for Daughters of Jubilation. This was, a couple of years ago. I started in 2016, I believe. For me, though, young adult, it's so hard to explain because it's something I've kind of always wanted to do in a way. I remember connecting with books when I was young, like starting at around age 8 and feeling like there was a special kind of connection I felt with like authors that I liked. Mm-hmm. And I think as I was getting older, I thought, that would be really nice to have that relationship with with my audiences. And here's a fun fact, another fun fact.
Yay, I love fun facts. Yes.
I technically started writing young adult before I had done any playwriting.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
when I was like 20, I wrote this book. And it was, I was 20. I didn't know.
Listen, you wrote 20. How many books have I written? Okay, come on.
Well, this all of to say is you're not going to read it, and nobody ever is. But anyway, so I wrote this book, and my God love my sister. We just brought up was really supportive, and she had a friend that worked at a publisher, like a major publishing house, and she's like, "Why don't we see if Jessica will read it and just give you some pointers?" Knowing that I was like green, a rookie, I didn't know, and I was like, "Oh, cool, that sounds great." This is not what happened. So what happened was the book was sent to this friend. She was busy, so she passed it on to a colleague of hers who misunderstood and thought this was like an official book submission.
Wow.
It really was not. So a few months later, I got this letter. It was a rejection letter, and it was 2 pages, single-spaced, full of everything wrong with my book. And it ended by saying that maybe storytelling wasn't for me. And that I should look at a different path in life. So I thought, okay, this isn't something I can do. And I kind of filed that away. And then as I was saying, I was still acting, doing my thing, and then slowly coming around to playwriting. And I feel like it was like more than 10 years later, I got into a place, I was sort of between productions, which I never had that many anyway. And then I was teaching in Ohio. And I had this semester where it was like, all I'm doing is teaching a few classes a week. I don't have any playwriting stuff coming up. Why don't I try again?
Nice.
It suddenly occurred to me, it's possible that lady was having a really bad day.
I love that, though. You didn't let the rejection stop you. You were like, I'm going to try again. I love that. That's a good message to have. That's a good message.
It took over 10 years. So,
you got there. You got there.
Yeah. So that was how I was like, I really did want to do this. And the book I started there became The Truth of Right Now, which was my first book, which was published in 2017. And now Daughters just came out. But so it's something that I wanted to do for a long time. For some reason, teenage protagonists come to me kind of easily, much more easily than adult protagonists do. I don't know why.
No, but that's good. You're needed in the young adult section. So I'm so glad that you're there. And for those who are watching this now and who will watch this later, and who have not read your book yet, give us an insight of what Daughters of Jubilation is about.
Sure. Okay, so Daughters of Jubilation focuses on Eveline Deschamps, who's 16, and she is the latest in a long, long line of magical Black women going back to slavery and beyond.
I just love this. I love this. I'm sorry. I'm just so excited to have you here.
I love your response.
I did a reading about a Black woman magic. Yes. Okay. Keep going.
I love your response. So what she's learning is that in the teenage years and puberty is when these powers suddenly become sharp and really strong and potent. However, her mom kind of pushed it aside for Christianity. Her mom decided that was devilment, and I want to use Jesus. Or just my thing. So she almost she almost felt like if we don't really talk about it, maybe it won't exist. But it does. And things are happening, and she's getting to a point where she could seriously hurt herself or others because it's dangerous. It's that formidable. So she reaches out to her estranged grandmother, who then teaches her and coaches her in the ways of, these are the powers that you have. These are the things you can do. It's not always going to feel good, and it's not easy, but you need to learn how to control them. And you can live with this. This doesn't have to be some curse.
Yeah.
Basically what she teaches her. And while that's happening, she's falling in love with her longtime crush, who's finally making his move, and he's this sexy trumpeter. And
we have Black love in the story too. We got Black girl magic and Black love in the story.
Black love.
I need everybody to run out and get this book. Black love.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Get the book, right? Yeah, and so it really is focusing on her, but the book, you kind of get the idea. She's just kind of the one right now, but this could happen at any time because it's happened to all of these women in this bloodline.
Yes. Oh man, you just said a word. I'm so So people who are watching and who will watch this later, Daughters of Jubilation. You can buy it on her website, which is up right now. Please get this book because, I'm just that's all I'm gonna say. I'm tingling with the description. So,
oh my God, I love that.
So with that said, I want to segue into, I'm still keeping in the same topic of your writing, but I want to go into your TV writing because now you are on a TV show, you write for a TV show, The Servant, and it's by M. Night Shyamalan, who is, people, he's in the horror, genre. There he is. So I want to ask you, what is it like? Because I'm assuming you're going to come back, right, for another season.
Yeah, well, technically my contract isn't up, so I'm still on there for 4 more weeks.
Oh, okay,
and we'll see. But,
okay. What was it like in the writers' room writing Supernatural, writing about this damn baby, and also too about just supernatural and horror and M. Night Shyamalan, and what attracts you to that genre?
Yeah, that's a great question. And if you guys are into horror, definitely check out season 1. It's on Apple TV right now. It's so much fun, and it's kind of like, it's really out there, but it's really fun and creepy and so weird.
Oh my gosh, I just wow. Okay.
Very creepy. Yeah, I have always been a horror thriller fan, like going way back to when I was too little to be.
Yeah.
And when it would still give me nightmares, but I was like, why am I drawn to this? Why am I drawn to this? And it's something I've thought about a lot over the years, like, what is my attraction? And I really think it has to do with getting at something that's so below our abilities to think or our intellect. I feel like really good horror makes us face kind of an ancient part of ourselves that nothing else really does. Like, I don't think there's really anything else. I mean, we can watch a tragedy and we can feel sad and we can feel that catharsis. But I think that that's a feeling that we're a little bit more comfortable feeling, which is a weird thing to say. But that real horror, nobody really wants to go there. And when it happens, I think that we kind of revert in an interesting way that weirdly fascinates me. Not exactly sure why. I'll tell you another weird thing. I suffer from depression, kind of like MDD, and and it goes up and down. I'm treating it, but it's always a battle. But weirdly, the only genre of film, TV, anything that can really hold my focus when I'm having a severe bout of depression is horror. And I think that there's something about realizing that all of this could be manifest outside of me, and then it would be worse. Like, I don't know what exactly that is, or if it's that I'm like, well, at least nobody's stabbing me right now. I don't know. But there's something about that kind of storytelling that I really can kind of come out of my cloud a little bit to actually like dig into. So I really feel like there's something healing about it. I'm still working on my answer to this because I feel like one day I should write like a thesis on what it is. I'm not quite sure yet.
But it sounds like I'm not an expert, mental health expert, as far as when I know there's a lot of people, especially in the arts, that suffer from depression, and I can't really speak from an expert place. But it sounds like to me, you're saying that when you have this outlet, like you're in the writer's room, you get to write and use your imagination to get out some of the things that are in your head. It's kind of a release for you, and it seems like it aids and helps into getting some of that off of you, that heavy lifting off of you, which I think is good.
Yeah, I think it totally does. And I think even when, like, knock on wood, my mood's been pretty good lately because, I'm treating it, things are going well, and, you got to live your life the way you can. But there's something when something really works in horror, like when you're discussing like a story point and then you're kind of like, and everybody has that moment of chills.
Yeah. It's
so satisfying. Like, it really feels like I'm a genius. Like, I don't get it with really.
So
every now and then.
So for people who haven't seen The Servant yet, talk to me about this damn baby. Talk to me about the baby. Like, and the reason why I keep saying that the damn baby is because horror movies and babies, kids don't. My mom's from New Orleans. I've heard things growing up. I believe in that stuff. And so, and if the dog is in the corner looking up, the dog is talking to somebody. If the little girl's in the room talking about my imaginary friend, I'm like, let's talk. I'm gonna ask more questions, right? So that's why I feel like, because the outer realm, if you believe in that, they talk to your pets and they go after your children. So talk to me about the servant and the baby.
Okay, I'll tell you what's going on with the baby. At least I'll tell you a little bit of what's going on with the baby.
All right.
So when you first watch the pilot of The Servant, it opens with this young couple, and they're welcoming this 18-year-old woman who's going to be their nanny, like live-in nanny, and into the house. And it's like, we're so glad you're here. Let me show you around. The mother's kind of manic, but she's very excited. The father is very reserved and a little weird, and we don't really know why. And the nanny's like, well, can I meet him? She's like, oh, he's sleeping. He's such a good sleeper. He's a little angel, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Then later that night, in the middle of the night, the father goes into the nursery. This, I'll tell you, when I first watched this, I screamed. So father goes in, I'm going to tell you. So the father goes in, get ready. The nursery, and you see him looking down. We see, it's like the baby perspective. You see him looking down at the crib. Mm-hmm. He reaches in, grabs it by the leg and rips it up. And I screamed. I was like, what is he doing? And that's when I realized it was a doll.
See, and that's how we go. See, we're not going to say anymore. Y'all just going to watch The Servant on Apple TV Plus and see. Because
and there are more twists and turns.
I'm telling you right now, okay, if you like horror, it's October too. Come on, Halloween's about to come up.
Oh, yeah.
If you want some good screams and all that stuff, just go to The Servant and just watch some of Carolee's writing. And that's all I'm going to say. But just know that there's a baby. There's something involved with a small child. There's some creepy stuff going on. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so with that said, I mean, listen, we're in and out. We're almost at the end of this interview, which I'm just like, oh my gosh, I could talk to you for like another hour, because
really
like the energy and just what you're talking about just gets me hyped. Right? It's like all this magical mystery stuff, and like I'm like, we come from that. I love all of that. But
that's awesome.
At the end of each interview, I love to ask my guests about a cherry pick. And for those of you guys who are watching and who will watch this later, I like to ask my guests about the cherry pick because it's a way to pay it forward to the community. It could be anything that they choose that's Black owned, that's from a Black perspective, Black point of view. And it's just a way for us, and myself included, because there's a lot of things I know, but there's a lot of things I don't know. And it's a way for me to be able to learn more about what's happening in the artistic world, science world, just in the community in general, the larger community. And that's why I came up with the idea of the cherry pick. So Carolee, with that said, what is your cherry pick today?
My cherry pick is this book, Clap When You Land. This is a young adult novel by Elizabeth Acevedo, who some of you might know. She won the National Book Award a few years ago for The Poet X. She's really lovely. She started as a poet, but now she's sort of funneling that into young adult literature. Yes. And it's really this unique story that you're getting of two different perspectives, two young women. Well, they're teens, but they're going through some adult stuff. But they don't understand how they're connected at first. In the very beginning, you realize this tragedy happens, and it's a plane crash. It's a plane on its way from New York to the Dominican Republic, crashes into the sea. So one of the men on that plane, his daughter that he only sees in the summer, who lives in DR, was waiting at the airport for him when she got the news, and everyone around her got the news that the plane had gone down. Meanwhile, back in New York, he has another daughter, her age, with another woman. He has two wives and these two daughters that are about the same age, and they don't know about each other until he dies in this strange, horrific manner. And that's probably all I should say.
Yeah, that's all you should say. But that right there, your storytelling is great, girl. This way you describe things and talk about them, because now I'm just, because it's on my list. And so I'm definitely going to read it. And so this is the fun fact too, I want to say. My mom has been watching every single episode that I've been doing and coming up with. And the minute I hang up, or the minute the show is over, she'll text me and go, I'm going to get that cherry pick.
I love that.
So so trust me, she's gonna buy your book. She's gonna get Clap When You Land. She done got the flashcards from our previous guest. But I love that about my mom. But it's so funny because she's like, oh girl, yeah, I'm gonna get that too. But the way you describe this book, it makes me even more eager to read it, because that's a story. To like find out that you have a whole other family that your father has and you know nothing about it. Ooh, honey.
Right. A
Mm,
sister your age, and
mm,
yeah, and they're definitely living in two different economic stratas. I mean,
mm,
there's some
mm,
interesting stuff going on.
mm.
And also, she has it with her poetic language. So it's very lyrical and beautiful. So absolutely go out. After you get my book, get this.
Get her book. So yes, make sure you get her book. You can get it on her website. And also too, one of the things that Carolee and I were talking about on the phone is the importance of shopping at Black-owned bookstores. And so I, have been searching and looking around, because myself, when I buy books, I want to make sure that I give my money to Black-owned bookstores. And there's this bookstore in the Bronx, the Lit Bookstore, and right? Hey,
Yeah.
you say yes. And so you can buy her book there too. You can go to the Lit Bookstore. And also, she sent me an email about a link that Oprah magazine listed 125 Black-owned bookstores. So you can Google that, look for that. Oprah's 125 Black-owned bookstores list.
Right.
But my bookstore of choice today is the Lit Bookstore in the Bronx. So you can buy Daughters of Jubilation there, and and get it, and you're supporting her writing, you're supporting the story, but Black Girl Magic story, and you're supporting a Black-owned bookstore, and it's just blackity black black. Great, amen. And so, but that's it. That's our interview. That was like fast and minutes. Like that's what's coming up for me. Fast and Furious. There was so much juicy stuff in there, and I'm looking at the time, and I'm like, "There's no way that all the juicy stuff you said is we're done."
Wow.
But you guys can follow Carolee on her Instagram is down there at the bottom. You see, you can also follow her on Twitter. Make sure you go to her website. That's all up there on the screen. It's also, you can go into the chat. There's listed in the chat, and there are links. And yeah, I mean, that's it. I just want everybody to give Carolee Corthron some love. Like, thank you so much for coming on. This is such a great conversation, and I cannot wait. I look forward to all the things that you write in the future, and I can't wait to have them on my bookshelf. I'm gonna have to get. I'm gonna want a signed copy of Daughters, though, so I'm gonna have to have you send me a signed copy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I would love a signed copy. That would be so amazing. But with that said, thank you so much for coming, and that's it. We're done.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun, so lovely.
So good seeing you. I'll see you soon. Okay, everybody, wave goodbye to Carolee. Oh gosh, that was a fun interview, and just fun and to the point, and just the way that she with her storytelling and the fun facts. So I just want to say, every Sunday, I get more and more people to watch. So I just want to say thank you so much to my followers who are catching on to what I'm trying to create every Sunday. And I'm just trying to bring you some amazing voices that we don't get to see a lot. And so there's some voices that you will see a lot. There's some voices that you don't. Like Carolee is somebody that I've known for a long time. And I just really wanted to bring her on so you can know that she's out there doing great things, because sometimes I'll get emails go, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I didn't know about this book." And so that's the kind of emails I like. I look forward to the email of, "Oh my God, I didn't know about Daughters of Jubilation." So that's why I created this platform. And I want to just give a shout out to all my supporters. And I just want to say thank you for watching. And with that said, next week, we're going to go back to our regular scheduled time at 5 p.m. Like I said, I do them every Sunday, 5 p.m. live Eastern Standard Time. Today was just a special time, 3 p.m. And next week, I have a very exciting guest. And so he is in the new upcoming Netflix show, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It's going to be my guest, Michael Potts. You see he's up there on the screen. We're going to talk Sunday, November 1st, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm really excited to sit down with him. I haven't seen him in a while either, but I'm really excited to sit down with him and ask him some really profound, great questions about his experience on that set. And before I leave, the last thing I want to say is that our community and the theater community, TV community, lost a giant. And I just wanted to say rest in power to Anthony Chisholm, who you might know him from Oz. A lot of us know him just as a big Broadway veteran. And he's been in every August Wilson play that I can name. Tony nominated for Radio Golf, was in Jitney on Broadway. Gem of the Ocean, Two Trains Running, just August Wilson protege, just an acclaimed actor. And so the community suffered a great loss with that. And some people knew him, and some people didn't. So I just wanted to just give a special love to him because his loss has affected me because he was a personal friend of mine who would just, we sit over a glass of a drink and just talk. And he would just tell these amazing stories. And I was just in awe going, oh my gosh, this is an iconic person in front of me telling me some very personal stories that I can just laugh about that I'm not going to tell you. But just the conversation. So I just wanted to give love out to his family, his daughter, and to those who are hurting from this loss. And so with that said, I'll see you guys next week. Sundays with the Cherry on Top, every Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Michael Potts. So that's it. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for being a part today. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Holla.